Ovidio Guzman Lopez, El Chapo's son, was extradited to Chicago to face drug conspiracy charges. I may be a little late making this video, but I just wanted to let things flow with Ovidio's case, because everything, I just wanted to have a good amount of content, basically. But El Chapo's son will be facing El Chapo's fate, probably. El Chapo, his dad, also faced federal drug charges in Chicago, but he was ultimately sent to New York because I guess New York, Brooklyn had a better case for him, right? They always send the person, whenever they extradite someone, they face the justice system in whichever state has the best case for them. They will put them in jail for more years or the most amount of time, basically. The son of the drug kingpin, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, has been extradited to Chicago, as I just said, 5 months after the feds unveiled sweeping charges against 4 of the Sinaloa leaders, which are El Chapo's children, basically, accusing them of so-called Los Chapitos, that's what they call them. They're running their dad's deadly cartel through brutal violence. Ovidio Guzman Lopez was extradited from Mexico and arrived in Chicago on Friday, according to the law enforcement. Whether he arrived on Friday or not, we know he is in Chicago, though, because Luis posted this picture which shows his register number and where he's located at. I highly recommend you guys follow Luis. He puts a lot of stuff out there, and some information I get it from him. However, Ovidio is one of the 4 Chapitos that are being charged by the Justice Department campaign against what the Attorney General Merrick Garland at the time called the largest, most violent, and most prolific fentanyl trafficking operation in the world, is run by the Sinaloa cartel and fueled by Chinese precursor chemicals and pharmaceutical companies. Apparently, if all 4 of the Chapitos are ever captured, they will be charged in Chicago, and Ovidio is the first one to arrive. Although his father, El Chapo, arrived in Chicago as well, he was sent to Brooklyn, where he was prosecuted by the federal court and ultimately is now serving a life sentence. The 4 sons of El Chapo were accused in April by the Justice Department officials of torturing their enemies by electrocuting them, waterboarding them, and feeding them alive to tigers. Authorities said Ivan Archibaldo Guzman Salazar and Jesus Guzman Salazar kept the animals on the ranches as their pets. And while they were doing that, the fentanyl-related deaths in Chicago and elsewhere in the country have risen to alarming levels, prompting the Drug Enforcement Administration and other federal and local law enforcement agencies to boost their efforts to cut off the supply in Mexico. I recommend anyone that's still out here doing drugs to fucking stop. Just look out for that yourself, because there's too many fentanyl out here nowadays. Fentanyl, as we know, is 50 times more potent than heroin and is the leading cause of death to Americans 18 to 49. An indictment in Chicago tied the Chapitos to at least 4 killings. It said the brothers were involved in the Culiacanazo, in the Sinaloa cartel stronghold in Mexico, where on October 17, 2019, about 700 armed cartel members attacked government and military targets. After the capture of Ovidio Guzman Lopez, at least 13 people died. That indictment also said that the Chapitos shipped drugs from the countries in Central America and South America to Mexico using aircraft, submarine, boats, and other carriers, then smuggled them into the U.S. using vehicles, rail cars, and tunnels. This Chicago case alleges they sold and distributed cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana throughout the Chicago area. Several indictments in New York also accuse the brothers of being fentanyl traffickers. The Chicago indictment also accuses the Chapitos of murder, kidnapping, and assault against law enforcement, rivals, and members of their own cartel. In 2017, for instance, they kidnapped two Mexican federal police officers, fatally shooting one and torturing the other one before killing that officer too. The torture involved ripping the officer's muscles from the arm and stuffing chili peppers into the wounds and his nose. These Chapitos guys are ruthless, but we all know they can't escape the U.S. justice system.